for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 5th chapter, verse number 29. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Here, 45 minutes ago.
I'll share my screen, Maharaj.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj, yeah, we can hear you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Deva Uchu Namamate Deva Paravavindam Papanam Tamapasamatat Pavaratram Yamula Ketu Yatatom Jaisuru Samsara Dukam Bahir Utsipanti. The demigod said, O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them from all the miseries of material existence. All the sages under the shelter throw off all material miseries. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. The shelter of the Lord's lotus feet is a complete shelter. Purport. There are many sages and saints who engage in trying to conquer rebirth and other material miseries. But all of them, those who take shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord, can completely throw off all such miseries without difficulty. Others who are engaged in transcendental activities in different ways cannot do so. For them, it is very difficult. They may artificially think of becoming liberated without accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, but that is not possible. One is sure to fall again to material existence from such false liberation, even though one may have undergone severe penances and austerities. This is the opinion of the demigods, who are not only well-versed in Vedic knowledge, but also seers of the past, present, and future. The opinions of the demigods are valuable because the demigods are authorized to hold positions in the affairs of universal management. They are appointed by the Lord as his confidential servants. Om Gyan Timirandasyad Ganajana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravare Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Desatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhupa Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhutananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. People seek shelter in different ways in this material world to protect themselves from whatever they're trying to achieve in this world, or to protect themselves from dangers, to protect their family members, friends, and others. But because the material energy is not controllable by the living entities, they have no protection. Material energy works under the direction of the source who created the material energy, and that is Krishna. He puts the material energy in place, and it works according to the activities of the living entities based on their desire and their connection with a particular mode of material nature, and they get in the result accordingly. Sometimes people wonder why, when they keep doing something, they get the same result, which is not very pleasing or acceptable by them, because the material energy is like an automatic reciprocator according to the activities and desires of the living entities. People want happiness, people want longevity of life, people want protection from material dangers, people want so many things to fortify their desires for happiness in this material world. But even if they find something temporary, that's what it is, because the material energy is always shifting. That's why it's called mutable. Mutable means it's changeable. But there's one thing that's not changeable and can give complete protection and shelter, and that is mentioned here, that the sages and saints, they throw off all other forms of material misery because they know where to find that complete shelter, and that is at the lotus feet of the Lord. The lotus feet sounds like some kind of, what we say, what's the word? Just an idea, but it's not. It's solid. The lotus feet of the Lord is a shelter that can be attainable. But how to achieve that shelter is the process of devotional service. Not by gyan, not by cultivating spiritual knowledge, not by karma, by performing fruitive activities and giving the results of the fruitive activities in devotion, not by karma, not by gyan, not by yoga, not by drilling the respiration, not by chanting mantras, not by giving in charity, not by performing costly Vedic sacrifices. None of these things, although they are elevating to a certain degree, that means they push one a little bit above the material energy. Still, they still have tinges of the material elements in it because they are not engaged in devotional service, which is the only aspect of the living entity's existence that is free from the effects of the material energy. So, therefore, the lotus feet of the Lord is synonymous with the devotional service. One who fully engages in devotional service, you might say that when we use the word fully, that might sound like, well, that's very hard to do, to fully engage in devotional service. But if you know the process, which is explained by the acharyas, the spiritual masters, Krishna himself in the scriptures, and you learn how to perform those activities accordingly, then shelter becomes what we say automatic. One becomes sheltered. That means the external energy cannot affect the devotee, and any attempt to find any kind of satisfaction in this material world will always prove to be what we say temporary. But the lotus feet of the Lord is eternal, because the lotus feet of the Lord are the process of pure devotional service. So one who is engaged in serving the lotus feet of the Lord, and it's also mentioned, it's interesting also, that the scriptures defined 9 ways by which devotional service is executed. Shravanam, hearing; kirtanam, chanting; smarnam, remembering; vandanam, prayers; archanam, worship. And then there's also one called, what is it called? It's taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which is called Padasevanam. That's it. Padasevanam is one of the 9 processes of bhakti. So there are principles that make up the execution of Padasevanam, such as attending spiritual functions such as Janmastami, Radhastami, Gaur Purnima, to visit holy places and to meet the great souls who stay in holy places and hear from them about the science of bhakti and the activities of that particular holy place. So Padasevanam is one of the 9 processes, which means taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. But all of the 8 other processes also are qualified to give one full shelter. And all of the 8 processes really center around the process of hearing. Shravanam is included in all of the other 8 processes. Why? Because before one can chant, one has to hear. Before one can remember, one has to hear. Before one can actually worship the Lord, one has to learn how to do that through the process of hearing. So all of the other processes of devotional service center around hearing as the foundation for development. If one doesn't hear sufficiently and learn how to carry out that knowledge, then that hearing process will not bring one to the success of that particular, what we say, anga of bhakti, that particular limb of service to the Lord. But the devotees can also see this also in another way, that when we take darshan of the Lord in the deity, in the temple, we begin by placing your glance at the lotus feet of the Lord. When the curtains open, it says that one should glance or place one's vision on the lotus feet of the Lord, bring that vision up to the smiling face of the Lord, bring it back down to the lotus feet of the Lord again, and then one offers respectful, humble obeisances in front of the Lord. So just seeing the lotus feet of the Lord, and it's visual, is another way to take shelter. There's this thing called neutral devotional service, when one doesn't perform any devotional service, but one, what we say, acts in the process of meditating on the Lord, such as just meditating on the Lord's lotus feet. There are those who have become proficient in seeing the lotus feet of the Lord, taking that vision into their heart, developing it by constantly remembering it, bring it up to the mind. And when the mind is active, it can always think of the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is also pure devotional service, because the Lord's lotus feet is the goal of Krishna consciousness, to attain that. And the Lord's lotus feet are always available to the aspiring devotees. So this is, and here it says, other than that, one will again fall into material existence, and by thinking one is liberated through severe penances, austerities, and different types of rituals that one may perform according to the Vedic schemes. These are not going to give you what we say permanency. They'll give you a little purification, but no permanency. Permanency only comes when one takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay. And great sages, they understand that. And so they don't worry about material miseries, because it says they throw off all material miseries. Isn't that amazing? Material miseries come in different forms, and some of them are quite severe, such as, miseries done by higher powers, inclement weather, severe cold, severe heat, severe droughts. Even now, right now in the world, especially in Europe, there's a drought. The drought is drying up all of the major rivers in Europe right now, and it's becoming a crisis. And the rivers are getting so low, if it gets any lower, and there's no rain, then the turbines will not be able to turn, and the powerhouses will not be able to provide electricity in many places. It's not all over Europe, but it's in many of the major European countries are undergoing that now. But a devotee knows, take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and then these material miseries cannot affect one. Why? Because the lotus feet of the Lord gives one satisfaction, and it protects one from the effects of these miseries. So there's nothing other than to accept the lotus feet of the Lord as the only shelter in devotional service. And of course, we see the miseries are unlimited. Material world is called Dukalayam Asasratam. So many miseries. You fix one and you get two more. You fix those and then you get four more. Miseries are always coming. Adhyatmika, miseries of the body and mind. Adibautic, miseries of other living entities. What is it? Adi Bautika, Adi Atmika, Adi, the last one, miseries of higher powers. So all of these are forced upon the living entities. And then you have birth, death, disease, and old age. These are also included in the string of miseries. But the sages don't worry. Why? Because they know where to find shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord in devotion. Okay, so we can go to the next verse if you'd like. Let's see if it's complementary to this verse or not. Okay, yeah, let's go to let me read the Sanskrit and we'll.
Yes.
Atayamasmin bhavayisya jivas tapatrayena binhatana sarmam atmalapte bhagatam stavangri chayam savidvam ata asrayema. O Father, O Lord, O personality of Godhead, the living entities in the material world can never have any happiness because they are overwhelmed by the three kinds of miseries. Therefore, they take shelter of the shade of your lotus feet, which are full of knowledge, and we also thus take shelter of them. So here, a little further explanation, maybe even more elaborate. So devotional service, this kind of supports the previous verse also. Devotional service is not sentimental nor mundane. It is the path of reality by which the living entity can attain the transcendental happiness of being freed from the three kinds of material miseries. And then it mentions body and mind, other living entities, and natural disturbances. Everyone who is conditioned by material existence, man, beast, demigod, bird, must suffer bodily pains, and those offered by other creatures due to supernatural. His happiness is nothing but a hard struggle to get freed from the miseries of conditioned life. But there's only one he can be rescued, that is accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God. We come back to the same point. The argument that unless one has proper knowledge, one cannot be free from material miseries is undoubtedly true. Because the lotus feet of the Lord are full of transcendental knowledge, accepting his lotus feet completes that necessity. So it's not just some idea. Knowledge is also there when one takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaham Janayasasra Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yad Ahaitukam. There is no want of knowledge in devotional service to Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. The Lord takes charge of dissipating darkness from ignorance from the heart of devotee. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajitam prittipurvakam dadami buddha yogam tam yenamam opiyantite. Very important verse. Empiric philosophical speculation cannot give relief from the threefold miseries of material nature. Simply to endeavor for knowledge without devoting oneself to the Lord is a waste of valuable time. So after hearing all of these, ultimately, there's only one source. Again, taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which gives knowledge. This verse, Tesham Shetata Yuktanam, is very important. One who worships me in devotion, I gradually bring that person towards me. So your worship is not just one way. In other words, as you are making attempts to serve the Lord, to take shelter of the Lord, to worship the Lord in a different way, the Lord is making all of the arrangements to bring you closer and closer through your activities of devotional service. He's not just sitting there waiting for things for you to get there. He's helping you. He's making all of the arrangements. And when he sees you're sincere, even if you are not expert in service, he guides you because he knows there's one thing about you that attracts him is that you are interested to serve him with devotion. And that's what attracts him. Therefore, he makes everything, what we say, easier by his mercy and by his direction, and he gives transcendental knowledge when it's needed. That's Krishna. He's very kind. Okay, so we can stop here and see if there's any questions, comments. Lotus feet of the Lord, pure devotional service.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. Such an important topic today. I hope devotees will have some questions. Dear devotees, please, you can unmute yourself or you can type in the chat, and please turn on your cameras. If you have any questions or comments, you can please go ahead now. Maharaj, I got a doubt about this material miseries like Adhyatmika, Adibhautika. So is it like we are, when we take birth in this material world, these are automatically given to us, or like we are the cause of these material miseries?
No, these are called kleshas. Kleshas means they're there
Mm,
by the arrangement of the material energy. There's miseries of the body, everybody knows that.
yeah.
The mind also doesn't always work according to the way you want it to, and also may cause you to do things you don't want to do. The miseries of the body and mind are quite prominent and quite, what we say, regular. They happen all the time, especially the more you get a little elderly, the bodily miseries also increase also. And miseries of other living entities, they're there all the time. Mosquitoes, flies, tax collectors, your relatives. These are all miseries of other living entities. You want to sit peacefully, and then, somebody knocks on your door and wants to sell you something. So, there's always some living entity that's giving you some disturbance. You get married to be happy, and then what happens? There's more disturbances. So, miseries of other living entities and higher powers, we all know that. We just mentioned that. Weather, the demigods, droughts, fires, famine, pestilence, epidemics, so many things, severe heat and cold, floods. Like today, I got a little bit of misery. I've been getting some misery a lot lately. Krishna's given me a little, a little philosophy to work with based on my own experience. So, I woke up this morning and I turned on the tap and there's no water.
Krishna.
No water in the bathroom, no water in the kitchen, no water anywhere. So I'm thinking, all right, what happened? Did the rivers dry up? Or what happened? No water. And I don't know why. So I decided, all right, let me just chant my rounds. So I chanted 16 rounds. And then still no water. I was like, and then I thought maybe the lady downstairs did something because I live in this apartment. I'm on the second floor. So I sent one of my devotees who came to see me after a while. He said, yeah, her pipe broke and she shut off all the water. And he said, well, why did you shut off the water without telling him? She didn't have any answer for that. So I was out without water for about from 11 o'clock at night to about 8 o'clock in the morning.
Krishna.
So yeah. Well, fortunately, I had some drinking water, so that was all right. We couldn't wash anything though. Couldn't use the toilet.
Yes, Maharaj.
So yeah, so these, you don't plan for that, but they come. That's the point I'm trying to make. You're just going about your business, and all of a sudden, something happens or somebody does something, and there's some difficulties. Just the way it is. Material world is like that.
So remembering the lotus feet of the Lord is the only solution we have.
Yeah, because at least you can find shelter and satisfaction in that. And then you might have to deal with whatever situation is there, but it doesn't disturb you because you got the shelter. I didn't get disturbed. I was just wondering what was happening.
Yeah. Yes, Maharaj.
And Krishna was also giving me some intelligence how to get by in that situation. So I could see that he was helping me through the intelligence. So what can you do? It just comes, right?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
You hold you want to have a birthday party, and then it's your birthday, and everybody's ready to come to your house, and you get sick, and you can't have your birthday party. So it's just like the material world is just one thing after another, just one difficulty after another. We just drove from my place to where I am now, which was normally it's about 2.5 hour drive. About that, yeah. It took us 3.5 hours. And the roads were crowded with tourists. Construction was all over the roads. The traffic was so bad we couldn't hardly move. So, it's just one thing after another.
Yes, Maharaj. That's true. Yes.
So you just think, what do you do? Just think of Krishna and somehow or other learn to tolerate these things and work with them. That's all. If you get upset, then that makes it even worse. That's why taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord gives you some peace of mind and helps you to somehow accept these things and work with them and then move forward in life. Without getting upset just makes it worse because you can't do anything to change it. All you can do is just get upset. That makes it worse.
Yeah, it makes it worse. Yes, Maharaj.
But this life is like that. These miseries are there. They're built in. Krishna put them in the material miseries. He put them there just so we don't want to stay in this material world. It's an impetus to get out.
Yes, Maharaj.
It's his mercy for those who refuse to accept devotional service or any form of spiritual life. Then they have to pay the price of suffering.
Yes. Thank you, Maharaj. We have two hand raised. Lavanya and Sucharu Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Dandavat pranams to everyone. Maharaj, my question is uh, like we have to be in the service of Krishna every time. But when I'm doing my prescribed duties as a wife or as a mother, so that particular time in my mind, instead of Krishna, my kids are there or my husband is there, that okay, it's his office time, so I have to do this for him, get ready everything. It's my kids school time, so I have to get things ready for them. So that particular time, if Krishna is not in my mind, so is it normal? Or if it is not normal, then what should be the approach?
This is a very interesting question because it can be understood from different angles. One is that we say that when you're working, doing ordinary activities that are based around family life, try to think of Krishna also. Now, another way to see it is that because I'm a devotee, because my life is dedicated to devotional service, then the activities I perform in this material world in order to maintain myself are considered to be also elements of bhakti. You're not trying to enjoy these material activities, you're trying to do them as a responsibility in the role that you play as a wife. And so that's not my, but if you can think of Krishna, and then you're more connected to the spiritual process, to Krishna directly. But there is a thing called Gona Bhakti. Gona means that bhakti that is parallel to bhakti, which means our activities in this material world that are necessary. They're only necessary. Though we shouldn't make necessary activities into something that is more necessary. In other words, the principle for a devotee is to live simply and not to live gorgeously where they don't have any time for spiritual life and call those activities necessities. They're not. So do the basic minimum when it comes to responsibilities that you need to do. But your mind and your heart should be thinking of Krishna. Oh, when can I be with the devotees? When can I be chanting the holy name? When can I? In other words, you should be eager in your heart and mind to finish these responsibilities in your family and get to the real business, Krishna consciousness. So you do them because they're required, but that's all. And you do them to the best of your capacity also.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, Lord Chaitanya gave a very interesting example. It's an analogy, actually. He says, a wife, a lady, she's married to her husband, but she has a boyfriend also. But she doesn't want her husband to suspect that she has a boyfriend. So she does her service really nicely to her husband. But in her heart and mind, she's always thinking of her boyfriend and when she can go with him. So in the same way, do your service very nicely, but always think of Krishna. When can I be with Krishna? When can I, again, getting engaged in activities in devotional service?
I'll try, Maharaj, but it is very difficult. But I'll try my best to do it.
If you try, Krishna will help you. And you say, my dear Lord, every time I forget you, please do something to help me remember you. And he will.
Sure. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Mother.
you, Lavanya and Sucharu, Radharani. Which one is which?
Lavanya.
You're Lavanya?
Danvat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Maharaj.
A little bit louder, I can't hear.
Danvat Pranam, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. What's your name?
Lavanya.
Lavanya. Okay.
Yes.
Lavanya means beautiful. Haribo.
Thank you, Mataji. Nice question. Sridevi Mataji, you want to go with your question? You have your hand up
Yeah,
previously.
if you don't mind, Shrimati.
Yes, Mataji.
Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. On the subject of lotus feet of the Lord, um, for me personally, I don't readily think of the lotus feet of the Lord, but my first thoughts always go to the lotus feet of Guru. Guru Charana Padma Keval Bhakti Sadma. That Guru Vandanam prayers are very attractive for me and my meditation also. So, is it the same as meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord?
Yeah, because by meditating on the lotus feet of the spiritual master, who represents the lotus feet of the Lord, it's, in one sense, it's non-different. The spiritual master comes to give you the lotus feet of the Lord in the form of devotional service. Now, therefore, the spiritual master is also called, he's called God who is in the mood of service. There's God who is accepting service and God who is serving. God who is serving is also known as the spiritual master. Although he's not God, but he's in the mood of service to God, therefore he's also giving that title, Servitor Godhead.
Hmm. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Obeisances.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Wendy Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please add my humble obeisances to you. Thank you for this lecture. I just want to share something and I want to also ask one question. Yesterday, when I was working, I just got a nice realization. I think so, because I understand that this material world is just a garbage. It was very, very deep, Guru Maharaj. I was crying because was very, very deep about that. And then the question I have, Guru Maharaj, this material world has been always like that, or any previous time was good or better?
That question was asked to Prabhupada. He said, it's either, well, how did he explain it? He said, more or less, it's always bad. Sometimes it's not as bad, but sometimes it's more bad. But it's there's different degrees of sometimes the garbage doesn't smell, and sometimes the garbage really smells.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So more or less, it's always the same. Different degrees of difficulties, that's all.
So, Maharaj, so we say that in Kali Yuga, it getting degraded more. So that means that in Satya Yuga and other yugas, it was little better.
Yeah, that's the benefit of Kali Yuga.
Mm.
Says great sages and saints aspire to go to Kali Yuga. Why? Because the chanting of the holy name is the mercy manifestation of Krishna, which is so easily available that one can overcome all of the difficulties and reach pure devotional service, self-realization simply by chanting the holy name.
Ye-
So Kali Yuga is actually an impetus, because when you look at the options in material life, they're not very, what we say, attractive.
Yes, Maharaj.
The demigods and the higher planets, they have luxurious material arrangements, but therefore it's very hard for them to become pure devotees of the Lord. But they're devotees, but they're mixed devotees, most of them.
Mm. Yes, Maharaj. Wendy Mataji, you want to say something?
Yes, about that. I was just driving and I was driving and I got the realization and I was crying because I feel a lot of contamination on me. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, by your mercy. And when I was driving, I just look at the left and I see one sign in the store, he said holy name. So it was very, very wow, very powerful. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Yeah, I saw the sign holy name. Yeah, thank you so much.
Because you're sincere, Krishna is helping you in so many ways.
By your mercy, Guru Maharaj, by your mercy. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Raji Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances onto your lotus feet, Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Maharaj, as you were talking about the lotus feet of Krishna, I was thinking about the 19 signs that are there on Krishna's lotus feet. And one of them is the triangle, which is helps us to avoid the threefold miseries of the material nature. The symbol bow, which helps us to get rid of fear and lamentation, and the calf's footprint, which is like the material miseries, and the material world just becomes like a the ocean becomes as small as the calf's water that can come in the calf's footprint. Maharaj, I was thinking, is it okay to meditate on these symbols as opposed to meditating on the lotus feet themselves?
Yeah, that's there. There's a whole listing of these things that teaches you how to meditate on each one and what is the benefit of that meditation. Yeah, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lord Chaitanya has 32 symbols. Lord Krishna has 19 on one foot. And what's the other foot has?
19 in total, Maharaj.
19 in total.
Yeah. 11 and 8.
11 and 8, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Radharani has how many? She has more than Krishna. Anyway, there's actually verses mentioning those different symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Okay. And Maharaj, my other question is, what's the difference between dasyam and pad sevanam?
Dasyam means to carry out the instructions of the Lord. Dasyam was illustrated or perfected by Hanuman. Hanuman was the perfection of Dasyam. He was always ready to carry out the instructions of Lord Ram. No matter what it was. Didn't matter what he had to do. The instruction is all that counts. It doesn't matter what the activity is. And Padasevana means to worship the Lord's lotus feet by going to holy places. That's one of the ways that Padasevana is executed. Of course, going to holy places means meeting the great saints there, hearing the glories of the Lord that's connected with that holy place. Attending festivals like Janmashtami, Radhastami, Gaur Purnima, these are all activities of Padasevana.
Okay.
But
Maharaj,
we have to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so that's Shravanam, Kirtanam is very much fundamental.
mm-hmm.
I was thinking you left. Oh. Okay, so
Thank you,
Does that
Maharaj.
help?
Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think I have to disappear because I'm in the middle of 45 things. And I want to bring it down to 44.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Even though you have a busy schedule, you gave us time today. Thank you so much for that. And about tomorrow's class, Gurmaj, I just want to confirm with you, like you're not
I
available.
can't get, I said, don't count on it because tomorrow is Balaram's appearance day.
Yeah.
And I'm in a different place. I'm in a temple in Ljubljana. They have a full schedule for the whole day's activities
Okay.
and like that. So, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Maharaj.
I mean, you have so many wonderful devotees there. You could have a little group discussion where everyone can contribute something about Lord Balaram. And then someone will say something and discuss it. Somebody else can say something else. Someone can tell a pastime. Someone can say a little bit about his activities, the philosophy that makes up his activities. There's a lot to say about Balaram. So
Yes,
you can
Maharaj.
have a little group. Of course, I mean, it's still up to the people in Charlotte, of course, yeah.
I think they are arranging for another speaker. I think somebody else will give class,
Oh, okay, yeah,
but we can join our daily call and we can discuss, Maharaj.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay,
We'll do
thank
that.
you very much.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Yeah, I have
Thank
to
you, dear.
disappear now.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Guru Maharaj.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare